My parents divorced when I was in second grade, but they were separated when I was in first grade. So yeah, I grew up without a father figure for most of my life. And it feels in a way that you are lost, because who was I supposed to look up to? And I attempted to look up to my dad for most of my life for some reason, because I thought, the guy was my father, so I had to look up to him. I had to make him as my role model. And I attempted that for most of my life. I made this guy I didn't know a role model, a part of my life. And I chased that point. I chased that want to get to know him. I wanted to know who my dad was because I never had that moment with him. So the more I tried to get to know my dad, the more reasons I was given not to like him, not to pursue that understanding. And well, when my parents divorced when I was in second grade, I watched him walk out from the door. And when he walked out, he was leaving. And I didn't know at that moment that my viewpoints would change. My life would go a different direction. And um, it I look back on it now and I understood what happened, but I didn't want it to happen. It still hurts to look back on that. And I didn't see him for the next couple years until uh, quarantine, which was like the end of fourth grade. But he comes back and he leaves, and he comes back and he leaves. I I felt that it was my fault that the relationship never got to where I wanted it to be. I thought that my father didn't want to get to know me, didn't want to admire who I am because of because I didn't have any accomplishments or I wasn't perfect. And I felt that it was my my responsibility to perfect myself, to make myself have these accomplishments, because I didn't want to be in that reality that my father didn't want to get to know me, that he didn't attempt anything to get to know who I am. And it's just like, it's hard, man. It's something that makes you feel disconnected from other people, from most of the conversations, because I never had that moment with my dad. I never had those moments. Never. I never I never had my dad play sports with me. He never taught me how to be a man. He never taught me how to shave. He never gave me advice. And I envy those who got that. And I still look on those kids who play with their dads, like in soccer and basketball, and I wish that I had that experience. I wish that it was me. Because why? Why isn't it me? Why didn't I have that? I always wonder why. But I've always tried to value my father's presence. If I always try to value what we could have had as a father and son. And I never valued his absence. I never realized how much I learned from his absence. You don't need people to feel complete. You don't need someone to make your life full. And my father taught me that because he wasn't there. And it's a strange feeling because he's trying to re, he's trying to start something or reconnect something that never existed. And it's weird because there isn't much to say. You know, the the guy never wanted to be in my life, I felt. I felt that it was my fault. You know, that I wasn't the perfect child, that I wasn't smart enough, that I wasn't strong enough in what I did. But there is so much to life than to grieve something that never existed. And it it just leaves you incomplete because I never had that as a child. And so now I feel empty in some way. I I I had those times where I hated him so much. So much, and I had those times where I loved my dad, but I didn't know why. And I have gotten used to not not being around with my dad. I've gotten used to that feeling. And you know, we all grow up in different ways. We all find our values in different ways. And you know, without my dad, it took a lot more effort to really find value in my life. let me see if this works. Yeah. I I was given support by my mother and siblings to give me advice on what I needed or what I had to do in life. And I am thankful for that. You know, some of the words I never got from my father was him saying that he was proud of me, or any of those deep talks that he said he loved me, where he really meant it. And of course, like parents, they have to say they love you. But I just felt that my dad never meant it. I felt that he never meant those words. And all those times I've attempted to build a relationship with him was the more I realized that I never knew him. I never knew who my dad was. The more I thought I did, the more I was given reason not to. And it broke me, because how are you going to tell an elementary school kid, that you're never going to know who your dad is? You're never going to feel that you know him. And I can deal with that now. I can accept that now, but it makes you feel weird. It makes you feel that makes you feel incomplete. But now, you know, in the future, if I ever have kids, or if you ever have kids, I feel like I would do the things that my dad never did for me. Be there and really be there with the presence. My dad was never there. And it was a struggle. But anyways, if you have the same story like I do, many people now have divorced parents and they struggle in their own ways. Whether that is trauma or mental health, you know. I know I shouldn't feel that it was my fault. I know that I shouldn't put that weight on me. But it was the only way that I could escape from that reality. That my father is just another stranger. That he doesn't find me important. But, you know, I was a kid. But yeah, if you have the same experience, please let me know in the comments. If you've dealt with the same toll, please let me know, because I value the comments. I value what people share, whether that is positive or negative, because it's valuable to me. You know, the more people the more people find this video interesting and comment on it, the more I feel connected, you know? And it makes my day a lot more enjoyable.